what happens next in American politics now that we know for sure that the donor class can win elections? Clint Russell is from the Liberty Lockdown YouTube show, and he warned months ago that if the Trump camp threw out Thomas Massie and everything he stood for, there would be a massive voter fallout because the Trump camp themselves on the campaign trail promised Epstein disclosures, prosecutions of the Epstein class, small government, no foreign wars. And then they ran out the one guy who voted consistently that way. So what now? I invited Clint on the show, not to have a bitch fest, although that is very tempting. I want to talk about what happens next. You made a great point on your show last night that we can't really blame the boomers and Fox News, even though they obviously were complicit in thwarting the will of the people. It's the influencer class that is coming up to replace Fox News. So what do we do with this? So maybe you can give me a little postmortem, and then what now?
Well, thank you for having me, Natalie. Look, this was obviously a potentiality. We knew that going against the AIPAC lobby, going against the RJC, going against Miriam Adelson puts you in harm's way. We could talk about Charlie Kirk if you want to go down that path. But I think that Massie, he made his bed, and most of us thought that there was a good chance that he could survive lying in it, and he couldn't. So, but it took double the most spending that has ever happened in a primary race in American history. So that tells you something. This guy was very, very popular. The grassroots network was incredibly profound. Thousands, tens of thousands of small donations from across the country competing against three billionaires, two of which with overt Zionist leanings. So it was truly the people versus the donor class or the oligarchs, or however you want to frame it. And they came out on top. But I think it's a Pyrrhic victory. Honestly, I do. I think that they're going to lose this war. I think that if you look at the voting breakdown and you see that the only voter block that Ed Gallarain won was 65 and older. That's the only one. And he won it in a landslide. But it is the Fox News, sorry, OAN, sorry, all of the kind of conventional mainstream right-wing news that is also under Zionist influence. That is the only demographic that bought this nonsense. That's the only ones. Everybody else. So at most, you've got a decade. At most. And I think that the midterms are going to be an absolute all-out bloodbath. I was very hesitant to get on board with Nick Fuentes' whole burn it all down program. But now that Laura Loomer is signaling that the next victim in their line of fire is Rand Paul, I'm on board. I say we nuke the entire GOP. That's where I'm at with it.